Welcome back to the Full-Time Wedding Pro podcast. My friends, my name is Peyton Helm. It's good to see you. Today, we're talking about productivity for wedding photographers and videographers with ADHD. This is something that has plagued me for the entirety of my wedding business. And again, for the past several episodes with the podcast, we have been recording them live. So you guys are going to hear me reference chat. I'm not referencing nobody. There are people watching live. So if you want to watch these podcast episodes live and you're watching the recording or listening to the recording either on Spotify or YouTube, feel free to follow me, subscribe on YouTube, Full-Time Wedding Pro, and follow me on Instagram at Peyton Helm. We do these live every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, with the exception of today. Today was about 2:10 Eastern time because I was preparing for this episode, which is going to be pretty cool. So we will start. Like I said, guys, if you have questions live, feel free to ask them in the chat. I will happily answer them as we go through. And we're going to go ahead and start. So productivity for wedding photographers and videographers with ADHD. Okay, now this is going to apply to you even if you don't have ADHD. In fact, it will be a little bit easier if you don't have ADHD. Jealous. But I love ADHD, which I know sounds crazy. But I think like my ADHD, and I was diagnosed when I was a teenager, I think. And I'm not medicated, so I'm just going to throw that out there. I never really wanted to medicate myself. Not that there's anything wrong with that, and not that I necessarily disagree with medication. I'm not a doctor, but I'm not medicated personally, so I have to essentially raw dog it and deal with it myself. So, over the last 5 years, well, really, honestly, I started in 2018, so 8 years, over the last 8 years, of running a business, multiple businesses, and growing them, I feel I have become really, really good at being productive and doing all that stuff and outworking my competition to grow my businesses and also maintain a lifestyle that I really, really enjoy. I'm not going full Hormozy mode over here and working 12 hours a day. Now, I did when I was single and a little bit younger, but I don't do that now because I have, hobbies and responsibilities, and I'm, married, and, I also want to enjoy my life, right? I'm in my late 20s, about to turn 30, and I want to enjoy it, right? So that's what this is going to be about. The goal of this podcast episode and this live stream for you guys is I want you guys, all of us, the goal here is to get more things done faster without working too much. Okay? Brittany said I was just recently diagnosed with ADHD. Congratulations, Brittany. Welcome to the club. A lot of people think it's a disability. Technically, it is. I think it's an empowerment personally. So we're going to talk about that, right? Because there's a lot of strengths you have as an ADHD neurodivergent person. I think that's the more acceptable term is neurodivergent because there's, thresholds, right? Some people like full on autistic. Some people are like, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, right? So we're also going to cover that too. Disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional. Like I am not. And I also want you guys to understand that everything I say is not medical advice. Okay. I'm not a medical professional. Do everything here at your own risk. Also, this is going to be broad strokes, okay? Broad strokes. Please remember that. I got flamed for, inserting my opinion on a post a few weeks ago about, delivery times, gallery delivery times. And a lot of people were like, well, I'm in this, I have 5 kids who have special needs and I work 3 jobs and I shoot weddings, I have 100 weddings on the side and 200 family sessions and this won't apply to me. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. So like, again, broad strokes, okay? The advice I give you might need to be altered or might completely not apply to your personal situation at all if you are the outlier and you're not like a average person with an average business, okay? So please just understand that. Like, don't come for me if I tell you guys, oh, if you do this, you might get this result or whatever. Like, everybody's different here. So just please understand, like, as an educator, I have to give broad strokes. So, everybody's different. You all have unique situations. My goal with this is to give you everything that worked for me, and as well as give you guys research that I've done in preparing this and research I've done over the last several years of doing this to apply it to your own situations. Okay. And also too, I'm not just going to focus on tactics here. Okay. So like, this is not going to be one of those podcasts. This is going to be a long podcast. Okay. Because I'm not just going to jump on here and tell you guys to fucking time block or whatever, and just like, or use this software that I'm affiliated with, and then you'll be fixed, because that's not how it works. Like, you guys probably have tried that. That doesn't really work that well. So that's not what this is going to be about. This is going to be a full lifestyle switch, as well as, there's a lot of stuff here. So let's just go ahead and dive into it. Again, the goal, get more things done faster without working too much, okay? And I really want to hit this home here. This is not about avoiding burnout, all right? We always a lot of people are like, oh, I'm working too much and I'm burned out. this is not about avoiding burnout, because burnout is separate from the time you spend working. Okay. Now, yeah, you can work, 12 to 14 hours a day and then you feel like shit after, but that's not necessarily what I define as burnout. I define burnout as you are sick of doing the work that you're doing, no matter how long you are doing it on a day-by-day basis. That's what I define as burnout. So if you guys are feeling burnt out, try to define it in your own mind. Are you just overworked and you need to take some steps back and have some hobbies? Okay. Or just take some time off of the screen and off of the business? Or do you hate the business itself? And even if you only work 2 hours a day, would you still hate it? That's different. Like, to me, that's burnout. Okay. So here's what we're going to cover. 4 things. Number 1, we're going to cover ADHD symptoms, specifically about ADHD, neurodivergence, whatever. Because again, everybody's different here. So, some of you might have these symptoms, some of you might not. Some of you might not know you've got these symptoms, which is going to be pretty interesting to find out that you might through a podcast like this. But we're going to cover the ADHD symptoms relating to productivity specifically, not just all of them. Number 2, we're going to talk about dopamine and discipline. That's going to be a really, really fun section. Number 3, we will talk about tactics. Okay, so we're going to talk about the actual things you guys can do tactic wise to increase productivity in your business. Again, goal, get more things done faster without working too much. We're going to cover that. Okay. That's all the tactics. Now, and then 4, automation and delegation, which I think is really, really, really important as a business owner if you really want to scale. Okay. So again, as we go through, feel free to ask questions. Love to chat with you guys. We're going to start off talking about ADHD symptoms. Okay. So again, some of you might have these, some of you might not. This is what I've experienced and done research on in my own life as a business owner with ADHD. So number 1, ADHD people and neurodivergent people typically have low attention, excessive caffeine use. Yes. Yeah. I need to drink less than 2 Monsters per day. We're not talking about caffeine a lot, actually. We can, but that was not on my notes here. So low attention and impulse control. ADHD people struggle, obviously, this is the most common one, with attention, okay, keeping attention in one place, and impulse control. We're going to tackle the first one, low attention. We will talk about hyperfocus, don't worry, okay? Because I know some of you guys are gonna be like, well, I can hyperfocus on things. We'll talk about it, okay? But in general, ADHD people have low attention spans. It is hard for us to keep our attention focused on one specific thing for a long amount of time unless we are in our hyperfocus mode. And this is only exacerbated by brain rot and social media and scrolling and all that stuff, right? That's why a lot of adults are being diagnosed with ADHD. And it's not like a genetic thing. It's coming from social media use, which is very interesting to do the research on. So anyway, low attention, right? We have low attention spans. We all know this, right? So this is not a groundbreaking thing, but we also have poor impulse control. ADHD people can be very impulsive, and I definitely share that character trait for sure. I can be very impulsive. I'm like, listen, I sold my car a few weeks ago and I got a different one because I wanted something a little bit cheaper, a little bit smaller, a little bit more rear wheel drive than all wheel drive. And I literally made that decision that day and I went and did it. I can be very impulsive, and I know a lot of you guys can probably be very impulsive too. I have a lot of people who join Full-Time Wedding Pro on impulsivity, which is hilarious, but it ends up working out for it well, which is nice. But we can be very impulsive, right? Now, again, you can make that a good thing or you can make that a bad thing. Okay. It's just one of the symptoms. Number 2, hyperfocus. We have the ability, probably more than the average person, to hyperfocus on things that we enjoy or that we find very interesting. Okay, which I think is really, really cool. And that has allowed me personally, I think the hyperfocus thing, specifically on the fact that it is something that I enjoy, is what allowed me to build the businesses very, very well and get really, really good at meta ads, because I really enjoy building brands and I really, really enjoy marketing. I don't really enjoy content a lot, so this is a stretch for me, but I really enjoy marketing and building businesses and branding and all that fun stuff. So it's very, if I wanted to, or if I allowed myself to, I could spend 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, or 7 days a week just on business building alone, branding and marketing and all that stuff. I love it and I can hyper focus on it. I won't look at my phone for hours. I could fully focus on it. And you guys might find that too. If you like something, if you like doing something, you can hyper focus on it. We also too will impulsively hyper focus on things that are new and novel to us. So okay, no, going back to my car, I just got this car. I want to make some mods on it. So I have been like hyper focused on looking at mods for it. Whenever I started the whole nutrition journey, like whole foods and no seed oils, which we'll talk about, I like hyper focused on it for several weeks at a time. And then my context switched and I got out of it. So that can be a detriment, but it also can be a benefit if you can balance it out properly. So we're going to use hyper focus to our benefit to be more productive. Okay. Now here's where this also comes in. Another ADHD symptom. We procrastinate on what we don't enjoy to do. And we do it more so than the average person, which is not great. AKA, if you don't like editing, like your boy here, we will procrastinate it. Okay. And it's really, really rough, right? So we're going to talk about that. And then lastly, not the last symptom, but the most important symptoms, I've listed them out, are poor time perception unless there is a deadline. Okay. So people with ADHD, we typically, we don't like, if there's not like a hard deadline or like a really important consequence to not being on time for something, whether that's like a delivery, or meeting a project date, or even just showing up somewhere, work or friends outings or whatever, ADHD people, if there's not like a hard deadline with a serious consequence, we don't perceive time as well, as people who are neurotypical. So, we are going to use these symptoms to our advantages, okay, to our advantage, to be more productive. Again, what's the goal? Get things done faster without working too much, okay? That's the goal. All right, so let's keep going. Now, we're going to talk about the second tool here. And by the way, for the chat, like if you guys want, if you're like vibing with this and you're like, oh yeah, like this is me, let me know in the chat. I'd love to hear it. And like, some of the things that you feel like ADHD is to blame for what you're struggling with. And maybe we could talk about that too. Let me get a drink. Okay. So, and I'm like super like energetic right now. So we're like, boom, 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 boom. I love this. Okay. We're going to talk about something that I love talking about, which is dopamine and discipline. Okay. ADHD people, I think I read somewhere or heard somewhere that ADHD people don't regulate dopamine as well as normal people do. I don't know if that's true. So if that's not true, please don't quote me. But I think I read that somewhere. But it doesn't matter because dopamine regulation and discipline building are probably the most important thing you could do to be more productive. Okay. So remember how I said, we're not just going to focus on tactics here, right? Where it's like, oh, use this calendar or like use this like to-do list structure or whatever. We will talk about that, but that is like a Band-Aid over, or that's like a symptom of the disease basically, right? Like you can solve that, but it's not going to solve the core thing. And then guys, if you've done this before and you're like, oh, okay, I heard like from this podcast or this YouTube video that I should use this software or, this way of like writing out manual to-do lists or whatever. I'm going to do that. And then you do that and you're excited for a few weeks and then you stop doing it or it doesn't work, stops working. You lose interest in it, right? That's because your hyper focus was in on it. For me, like I have a journal, right? And for a little bit before, a long time ago, and more recently, actually, I was using this as a written to-do list. I was super focused on it. It worked for a couple of weeks and then it just completely stopped working. And I went back to what I know works for me. So like that can happen, right? If you just learn tactics. So we're going to talk about building a lifestyle that will allow you to be more productive, happier, okay, more healthy. And honestly, there's no detriments here other than time spent doing some of these things and maybe cost. Okay. So we're going to talk about dopamine and discipline. Number one, the most important thing you could do that supersedes everything else in this podcast, and I really mean this, is to get good, high quality sleep for 7 to 9 hours per night. If you can. Some of you guys who are new parents, good luck, right? But if you can, try your best to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep because especially people with ADHD, we are hit by sleep deprivation harder than neurotypical people. So if you want to actually remain focused and actually be productive, you have to have good, high quality sleep for 7 to 9 hours per night, non-negotiable. Okay. And that means you probably need to be in bed for like 8 to 10 hours. Okay. I'm bad with procrastination. Don't worry, Brittany, we'll talk about it. I promise we will solve that for you as much as we can. I still struggle with procrastination sometimes. But also I feel that when my discipline isn't as high, I struggle more with procrastination. So this is going to help with that too. But we have to talk about sleep. We always have to talk about sleep. So sleep to 79 hours and make sure it's quality sleep. If you don't know how to, if you're not measuring your sleep, you don't have to, but you can get like an Oura ring or like a Whoop band or whatever. They're a little pricey. So if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. Honestly, I don't even really look at my Oura ring stats. I used to, but I just don't anymore. I don't even wear it. I'm not even wearing it right now. But for a little bit, it was really, really nice to see what affected my sleep positively and negatively, because sleep is so important. So how do you get good sleep, right? Number one, the room needs to be cool, pretty cool, right? And you need to be like warm under the bed-ish, but like cooler is better, right? Because we have evolved to sleep at night, obviously, when it is cooler outside. So if your room is cooler, right, you're going to sleep better. It just is what it is. You sweat less, you roll over less, whatever. It's great. Another one is you need to have it as dark as humanly possible. If you can make it completely blacked out, you can't see anything, good. Any kind of light is going to disrupt your sleep, okay? Any kind of light. And we're talking about while you're sleeping, okay? Another one, I personally, like whatever helps you sleep better. If you sleep better in total silence, then do that. If you sleep better with a little bit of sound, then do that. I sleep good with sound, so that's what I do. I have a little, we have a little, what's it called? Air purifier that makes noise. So like we sleep great with that. Pets, like we do allow one pet in the bed because she sleeps really, really well, but we don't allow any other pets in the bed because they make us sleep worse, right? So we are like critical with sleep quality. That's while we're sleeping, but also sleep quality begins earlier in the day before you actually go to sleep. Okay. So what do you do to prepare for good sleep? Number one, there's a lot here. Incandescent light bulbs an hour before you go to sleep. So no LED lights. That means no screens for 30 to 60 minutes before you sleep. Okay. And incandescent lights only for an hour, at least an hour before you sleep. Right. So like for me, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 screens right now. I've got a big old LED panel. I've got LEDs on the sides here. I've got that lamp is an LED behind me. But before we go to sleep, we have red. They don't have to be red, but we have red incandescent light bulbs in our room, right? And we usually do watch TV or whatever, but we about 30 minutes to an hour before we sleep, we don't do anything with screens. And when we do, oh man, is the sleep bad. It's rough, right? So that's first thing. Second thing, caffeine. No caffeine 5 to 6 hours before you go to sleep, okay? Because caffeine has a half-life of 6 hours. So don't do any caffeine. If you go to bed at 10, don't do any caffeine after 5. That's 5 hours. Yeah. Okay. So rule of thumb. Also eating, try not to eat. I think it's more than 2 or 3 hours before you go to bed. I think it's 2 hours. You might want to do some research on that. I know that like there's a time where you should cut off eating. It actually might be 4 hours. I don't know. But I know like for me, if I eat before I go to bed within like a 2 hour period, I feel awful, right? I don't sleep as good. Because your body's digesting, it's using energy. If you eat something acidic or whatever, you're going to feel it in your chest. Like it's just not great. So try, if you want to get really, really good sleep, okay, we're going to recap it, right? 7 to 9 hours in a cool, super dark environment, okay? An hour before you go to bed, use incandescent light only and no LED screens, no LED lights, okay? No caffeine 5 hours before you sleep, and then no food. I think it's 2 hours before you sleep, but it might be a little bit longer. So you might just want to do some research on that. And I have an eyelash in my eye. Okay. Great live. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hopefully this is helpful. So, and this is just the beginning, guys. There's a lot in this live stream. Okay. Now that is sleep. Okay. If you just do that, you probably will see a 50% lift in productivity. This is also good. We should define productivity. Productivity is outcomes in a certain time frame. Okay. So like, if we just use galleries for an example, if you can churn out 3 wedding galleries in a month and like on average, but you can take that from 3 to 5, you have if you can take that from 3 to 6, you have 100% lift in productivity. I can't do math. So productivity is just like, outputs based on units of time. But again, the overall goal here, just to remind all of you guys, especially if you're jumping on this live a little bit later, the goal with this is not to work more. It's to get more things done in a faster time frame without working too much. Okay. So just going back to that now, and we'll talk about tactics. But another one, this is a little bit of a controversial take, but I don't think it is personally. daily exercise, okay? Daily exercise is huge for dopamine and discipline. And again, if you're jumping on this a little bit late, we are talking about dopamine regulation and discipline building because that is the core of being more productive. Before we get to any calendar tactics and to-do lists and all that shit, like you have to have dopamine regulation and discipline, okay? You have to, because if you just try this on willpower alone, it will not work, okay? So daily exercise. Now, specifically for focus, strength training is actually really, really awesome for focus, but I would also still recommend cardio. So daily exercise can look like, for me, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm in the gym. Monday through Friday, I'm also doing cardio. So I like to do light cardio. I am probably gonna have to step that up though, because I'm getting into MMA, but light cardio, right? So walking usually for me, Monday through Friday, and then Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm in the gym doing strength training, okay? That right there, that habit, that discipline, and the dopamine regulation that comes from that has helped me be more productive and more level-headed a ton, okay? So daily exercise, try to shoot for 10,000 steps a day if you can, but any kind of, even for an hour or half hour, if you can do any kind of daily exercise, that will help tremendously. If you can do it outside, you'll also solve the vitamin issue because a lot of us are vitamin deficient. So daily exercise, do it, it will help you. Fourth, nutrition. Okay. Oh, let's see what I do. 100 push-ups, 100 squats every night before bedtime, which makes me tired and sleepy. Nice. I don't even think I can do 100 push-ups. I'm a small boy. I'm trying though. I'm getting there. So I think I can do like somewhere around 60 before I'm just like wanting to die. So we'll get there. Okay. So nutrition. Okay. This is where, you are what you eat. I've heard this a ton. So if you eat like shit, you will feel and perform like shit. Okay. So whole foods are super, super, super important. If you're eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of processed junk, if you're eating a lot of seed oils, you will have a lot of inflammation in your body, including in your brain, and it will make it harder for you to focus. I know there are studies out right now about, seed oils aren't super healthy or aren't unhealthy and all this stuff. I have a lot of opinions on that. What I do know is that seed oils are inflammatory. Now, whether they give you heart problems and cancer, I don't know, but I know that seed oils are inflammatory, and you will see this visibly on your body and you will feel it. There is ample anecdotal stories of people who cut out seed oils, and there are studies on people have cut out seed oils and processed foods. They're linked a lot of times. And they feel a lot better. They have more energy. They're more clear-headed. They can think. They're focused more. They're more productive, and they look better visually. So whole foods and cut out seed oils. Okay, seed oils, if you don't know, vegetable oil, canola oil, grapeseed oil, soybean oil. I think there's more. Sunflower oil. Like, cut those out. For oils, we do avocado oil, olive oil, butter, ghee, which is clarified butter, and beef tallow. So that's all we use for cooking, okay? And what that means is if you eat out a lot, good luck, because I ate out a lot, and it's hard. You don't have to cut them out completely. Like if you go eat hibachi and they make it with vegetable oil once a week, probably not a big deal. But for me personally, I'm trying to cut it out as much as possible. So right now I'm doing 30 days no seed oils at all. It's tough, trust me. But what's more important here is the 80-20 of it. Try to cut it out as much as possible and try to eat whole foods. Try to prioritize whole foods, okay? Whole foods, not the store. It's fine. But like meaning, like if you get like a bag of chips and it's got like 10,000 ingredients, that's not a whole food. A whole food is one ingredient: potato, chicken breast, steak, right? Like it's one ingredient. So if you get like a seasoned chicken breast and it's got like, chicken and then like all these seasonings that aren't bad for you, then it's fine. I know that's not a whole food technically, but you know what I mean. So try to prioritize whole foods and no seed oils. Hydration, drink water. Like try to drink a gallon of water a day. These Stanleys are 30 ounces, I think. Yeah, 30 ounces. I'll usually clear like 2 or 3 of these a day. I like to do liquid IV as well, but it's kind of expensive. So I will do like 1 liquid IV a day, and then I'll do just water for the rest of the day. Sometimes I'll do like a soda. I like Mexican Coke a lot. And then sometimes I'll do like a Monster, like a white Monster, which I know is not good for you, but that's my 80-20. And then like coffee sometimes too, I like caffeine. Like I'm not against caffeine here, by the way. An average weight, healthy human can adult human can take up to 400 milligrams caffeine per day if you're a guy, at least. I don't know about women. So I will usually get anywhere from 150 to 200 milligrams of caffeine a day. That's just me though. That's what I feel like I operate well at. So don't worry about caffeine. Just don't like kill yourself doing it, please. Again, not medical advice. So anyway, hydration is important. Please hydrate yourself. You will focus and be more productive more when you are hydrated. If you are not, you will lose productivity and focus. 4, on nutrition, and last on nutrition, vitamins and sunlight. A lot of people, most people I'm pretty sure, are vitamin D3 deficient. Okay. So take a multivitamin, eat vegetables, take vitamin D3 and K2, and go outside. And that will make you feel so much better. Right? I think a lot of people are also zinc deficient. If you guys haven't, do a blood test. Like seriously, do a blood test and see what you're deficient in. It will tell you and it will open your eyes. Also, if you're not deficient in anything and you take vitamins, they probably won't help you that well. So like I was taking a lot of vitamins and then I got my blood work done and I was like, oh, I'm not actually deficient in this stuff. And that's why I wasn't feeling anything. So just be aware of that. Okay. We're still on dopamine and discipline. If you guys have joined late, again, we're talking about dopamine and discipline because dopamine regulation and building discipline is the core of being more productive. All right. So what is next on dopamine and discipline? We got 2 more things. Number 1, or the second one, or the next one, Jesus, is lower your brain rot time. You guys knew I was going to say this, so we're going to talk about it. There's an app that I use, and it's literally called Brain Rot. And you can choose what apps that it will restrict. Okay. And then you can set it up on schedules. So when you pull up your phone, you can't access any of your brain rot apps. Okay. For me, Instagram, TikTok, it was Threads. I deleted my Threads because Threads was toxic. Speaking of toxic, Reddit, Facebook, if you ever get on Facebook, right? Whatever. YouTube even. Okay. If you're scrolling, brain rot, you are increasing, you are lowering your dopamine regulation. Okay. And you're lowering your discipline. You will be more susceptible to procrastination if you let yourself brain rot. Okay. So try your best to not scroll, which I know goes against my goals because my goal is to get you guys to click on ads, but you're still going to be on Meta, right? So the more that you can restrict your screen time, try to get it to like your total phone screen time, like 2 hours a day max. And then ideally for brain rot time, less than 30 minutes a day. Okay. Try to lower it as much as possible. Download the app Brain Rot. It's free, I think. I don't know, but it's cheap if it's not free, probably. And it will block those apps for you. Okay. Now, lastly, for dopamine and discipline, we have something in our brain. Is it the mid-cingulate cortex? I don't remember what it's called. It's called something where it will literally grow whenever you build discipline, which is crazy. And it grows because you do things that you don't want to do. That builds discipline. And as it grows in your brain, you will find that doing things you don't want to do becomes easier and easier as it grows. Okay. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's called the mid-cingulate cortex, but I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, whatever, it's fine. Just, you know what it is, or you probably know what it is. Listen to Andrew Huberman. He talks about it. So how do you do that? How do you build discipline? Anything that you don't want to do, you have to force yourself to do it. Try to do it every day. For me personally, and listen, I'm going to be real, I don't do it because I don't want to. So I feel like my discipline is okay. But cold showers, yeah, that's just an example. If you don't want to do it, I don't think it has any health benefits. That's just me. I know that dopamine apparently can increase after a cold shower. I don't know. But for me, I don't want to do it. So if I just force myself to do it, that would grow that part of my brain that makes discipline easier. Okay. So anything you guys don't want to do, if you just force yourself to do it as soon as you can, as soon as you realize you don't want to do it, you will build that muscle. It's literally a muscle in your brain that you build. And as you build it, things that you don't want to do, suddenly you'll start thinking, oh, wow, I'm going to do this. I feel better about doing this. It's easier for me to do it. So it's one of those things where it's like, you don't want to do it. And you're like, oh, I need to figure out a way to make me want to do it more. And the way to make you want to do it more is just to do it. I know that sounds so crazy, but that's how our brains work. It's wild. Again, I'm not a medical professional. This is just stuff that I've learned. Okay. So anything you don't want to do, Force yourself to do it. And over time, it will become easier and easier, which is crazy. All right, that's it about dopamine and discipline building. Again, dopamine regulation and having a high discipline is the backbone of being more productive, right? Reminder of our goal for this podcast. We want to get more things done faster without working too much. Building dopamine and discipline regulation is how you do it. Recap: sleep 7 to 9 hours. Okay, get good sleep. Exercise every day. A mix of strength training and cardio. Don't strength train every day unless you're doing different muscle groups because you'll tire yourself out. Nutrition. Treat your body like the way it was built. Okay, whole foods, no seed oils, hydrate, get vitamins and sunlight, lower your brain rot time, and then anything that you don't want to do, force yourself to do it, and then recognize that over time, those things will become easier. That's dopamine regulation and discipline. That right there, if you guys fully committed to doing all of those things for like 90 days, you will be a completely different person on the other side of it, let alone being more productive and making more money and growing your business faster. You could probably stop watching this right now. Please don't. And you would be fine. Okay? So, if you guys are watching this live and you're willing to commit to this, let me know in the chat. I would love to see your transformations. Commit to it. All right. Now, we're going to talk about tactics. I know you guys are excited. So, how do you actually get more things done faster without working more to do it? Okay? We're going to go into the tactics. I have a lot here. Number one, I want to talk about the myths of productivity tools. Okay? If you watch one fucking productivity video on YouTube, if you watch this video, you're probably going to get hit with ads on every tool in the book. Oh, use this productivity planner, use this app, use this calendar software, buy this planner and write your goals and your to-do list here. Use Notion, use Monday, use all this stuff, right? I know you guys get that a lot. I do too. I started getting it when I started doing more research on this topic. Okay? And it can be very sexy to look at all of these productivity tools and be like, oh my God, that's going to help me. That's going to change my life. It won't. Okay? Now, what I will say is that any tool you decide to use can work, but you have to stick with it. For me, I integrated the tools into what I use on a day-by-day basis. For me, that is the Notes app on my phone and Google Calendar. And every now and then, I will use my actual planner too. It's not a planner, it's just a journal. Like the pages in this thing are literally just blank, right? But you can literally write whatever you want, obviously. So for me, the tools I use, 3 tools: Google Calendar. Sorry, I just heard a noise. It sounded like somebody was in my house right now and I'm home alone, so that was weird. Okay, whatever. Anyway, hey, if I die, sorry, y'all got to watch it. So anyway, what? Okay. Tools. So I use, my Notes app on my phone, Google Calendar. Okay. And my this thing, but rarely. Most of the tools I use are Google Calendar and my Notes app. That's it. I've tried, listen, if you guys have named a productivity tool, I've probably tried it over the last 5 years. But what works best for me is Google Calendar and my Notes app. Okay. And we'll talk about the tools and how we do it. Okay. So number one, what I love to do is have a master to-do list. Okay. You can also call this a brain dump. What I find for me is if I hold too much in my brain, it's hard for me to focus on anything and I start to lose time. Like if I'm focusing and I'm thinking about a lot of stuff that I need to do, I will like not remember my day. Like I won't remember what I ate for breakfast. I won't remember what my wife said to me and she hates that. So like getting stuff out and writing it down on a to-do list helps me a lot. Sometimes if I'm feeling like tech overwhelmed and I don't want to use my Notes app, I will use this for a master to-do list. But a lot of times I'll just use my phone. I love my Notes app. I've tried the app Todoist. I've used that a lot, but I've just gone back to prefer my Notes app. I've literally wrote the outline for this on my Notes app. I love my Notes app on my phone. It's just the regular Apple Notes app. So I will write a full to-do list of everything I know I need to do at this given time. I don't do it by date. Okay. I write it out by priority. So if I need to, do this gallery, if I need to write this out. Yeah. Notion's great for that, Valentino. I used to use Notion for this, but honestly for me, like the notes app was more, because I can pin notes. I know you can star stuff on Notion. I actually still do use Notion, but not for this. I love Notion, but for me, it took too much time to get to my total app, like my total list. So I just went straight to the Notes app. And I love how you can share notes too. But again, you can do all this in Notion, so it doesn't matter. The tool doesn't matter. If you have a Notes app, it doesn't matter. Okay. So master to-do list. Everything you need to do, prioritized. Okay. And I like to break mine up between work and personal. So if I need to call the car, I've been calling BMW like 10,000 times because I have a issue in my suspension. So like, calling them, calling insurance, calling utilities, whatever, like doing all this personal stuff, clean the house, do this, whatever, right? Take the dog to the vet, whatever. Like, that's on my to-do list. Okay. Actually, let me rephrase. Things that aren't appointments and aren't dedicated to time on my calendar go in my notes app. Okay. And then the stuff in my notes app goes onto my calendar. So we'll talk about that. But work tasks by priority, and then personal tasks by priority. Okay. That's my master to-do list. Okay. And I'm going to change your guys' life with this. All right. After you get all of your tasks out, pay attention. You want to focus. Your goal on a day-by-day basis is just to do one task. Just one. And I know you guys are going to be like, I can't do that. I have to do several. That's fine. Your goal is to do one task off that to-do list per day. And if you do that task, you do not have to do anything else. That is your rule. Now, listen, if you want to do other things, if you have time to do other things on that to-do list, then do them. But I promise you guys, if you make a to-do list and you put it on your calendar and you have 10,000 things on there, you won't do them. You'll get overwhelmed. You'll procrastinate. You'll be like, oh my God, there's so much to do. I can't do it all. And you won't do it. Okay? So when you have your master to-do list, you have everything there. There's no dates on it. Okay? Now there can be, we'll talk about that, but there's no dates on your to-do list. It's just all of your work and your personal tasks prioritized. Okay? No dates, no times. Your goal when you transfer this over to your daily calendar is just to do one of those tasks per day. Okay? Does that make sense? Can you guys commit to doing one task per day? Let me know. All right? So, again, when you do that task, if you want to do more, you can. If you don't, then you don't. All right? One task per day. Now, how do we know what day to put that task on? This is called time blocking, by the way. We're talking about time blocking now, which is crucial, right? Because that's how our brains work for ADHD. We have to time block and set deadlines, or else we will not commit. All right. So how do you know what day to put the task on? You designate certain days on certain categories of tasks, right? Because with ADHD, we struggle with context switches. For example, for me, let's just give a general example. Okay. If you have to do a lot of contracts work and like systems and automation work and all that stuff, but then you also need to edit, you're combining administrative and creative on the same day. And your brain will not like that and you'll struggle. You might get stuff done, but you will struggle with it. So Monday through Friday, if you work Saturday, Sundays, cool too. Designate those days to certain categories of work. All right. And this can be however you want it. For me personally, like I used to do Mondays and Fridays, no meetings, just like Mondays was video work only. And then like Fridays was like whatever else, administration work, program work, whatever. Right. So you guys could have an editing day or several editing days per week if editing is like your biggest thing you need to do right now. And then you have your editing tasks on those days. And we will talk about how to actually do that, okay? But it's so important, guys. Try to make each day a certain context. Now, what this doesn't mean is that you have like a workout day and like a business day and then like a free, like what, don't do that, right? Because for me, I work out every day, try to work out every day, eating right, all that stuff. All of like the dopamine and discipline things is not like, you don't want to, like you do that stuff every day, okay? And if you have other things you do every day, then that will stay on your calendar. For example, for me, I respond to my Slack messages in Full-Time Wedding Pro for members every day, at least Monday through Friday. So that's my every day. That doesn't change. Meetings. I have meetings Monday through Friday pretty much, right? That doesn't change. So those consistent things don't change. The tasks change on a day by day. So for me, a task is to make videos, these live streams, okay? I do these on Mondays. Mondays are my live stream days. If this is the only thing I do today, that's okay. A lot of times it's not. I've done other stuff today. But if this is the only thing I do today, then my day is complete. That's my mindset, right? Because again, one main task per day. And that task should ideally be the most important prioritized task, all right? If you guys are following, let me know in the chat. If you're totally confused, let me know, right? So whenever I go to my calendar and I start time blocking, my goal is to do this one task, okay? And I'm not combining contexts on different days. So today I'm filming. Today is not my administration work. Today is not where I go through and do automations. Today's not where I go through and edit a gallery or a video. Today is my filming day. Now, Peyton, what happens if I miss my filming day? What happens if I can't do the tasks and I have to do it on another day? That's part of it because our schedules change. My schedule changes, right? So what happens? That's why we have a digital calendar, because you can just simply switch the days that your contexts happen. So if for example, if you need to edit a gallery today and today's your editing day and it's the only editing day of the week, all the other days or whatever, and then you miss your editing for whatever reason, it's like, oh, I can't edit till next Monday. No, don't do that. Look at your week and say, okay, what day can I switch the context? Oh, cool. I have time on Friday. Friday's now my editing day this week. And then you go back to Monday next week. You have to adapt, okay? So if you miss a task and you try to do it on like a certain day's context, just switch the day. It's not a big deal. Okay, that's part of it. That's where this gets a little messy. That's just life, you know? So let's talk about actually putting the things on your calendar, which is using time blocking and deadlines. Remember what I talked about in the very beginning of this podcast episode. If you're watching the replay, you know, if you guys have joined live, okay, one of the symptoms of ADHD is that we have very bad time perception and very bad procrastination unless there's a deadline, especially on things we don't want to do. So time blocking, putting things on your calendar will help with that. For example, for me, I hate making YouTube videos. I can't stand it. Pre-recorded YouTube videos, it's one of my, I can't stand it, right? I hate making these podcast episodes, but I hate making them pre-recorded. I don't like having to go in and like do this intro and like talk to the camera and not speak to anybody. But I realized for me, two things. One, if I have public accountability, I will do things. And two, I enjoy speaking to people live. When you guys comment things on the live chat, I love talking to you guys. Okay? So what I said was like, okay, my business, Full-Time Wedding Pro, needs content. It needs organic content. I need to make it. So how can I make it in a way that will achieve the goal and further the business, but do it in a way where I have public accountability, a deadline, and it's something that I like? For me, that was doing weekly live streams. Weekly live streams, Mondays, 2 p.m. Eastern. I don't have to edit. I speak. I have a little notes app. I talk to you guys on live, and I post it. That works for me. When I was editing a lot, We will talk about automation and delegation, okay? So don't worry. But when I was editing a lot, what worked really well for me was editing in a place that wasn't my house, because I focused more and I enjoyed it. So I would go to a cafe, or I would go outside somewhere and I would edit, and I would find that I was very focused. I'm the same way with the gym, by the way. I bought a tonal, which is like a home gym thing. And what I found was working out at home, I didn't push myself as hard. When I got back in the gym, I started growing like crazy. So that's one thing. But let's get back to deadlines and time blocking. Okay. When I have to do something, like for example, I called BMW this morning because I needed to schedule to take my car in. That's been on my mind for like a week. And I was like, ah, shit, I just need to put it on my calendar. I put it on my calendar from 10:30 to 11. And guess what, guys? I called them at 10:30. I think it was like 10:35. I called them and I made the appointment. And now the appointment is on my calendar a week from now. Magic, right? If you guys procrastinate things, put it on your calendar. Now, how do you put it on your calendar? That's a good question. You need to figure out, and listen to me, okay? You need to figure out the least amount of time it will take you to do something. And then put it on your calendar and commit to it. Okay? Let's talk about editing for a second. Editing a gallery. What you don't want to do is block out a 6-hour time slot on your calendar and then just say editing. Don't do that. Because you know what'll happen? You'll start that 6-hour time block. You'll start editing, or you'll procrastinate because you'll be late. And then you'll get busy doing something else. Something else will pop up. Oh, yeah, I got to respond to this client. Oh, wow, this YouTube video is cool. I want to listen to this while I work. Oh, the kids, I got to drop the kids up, whatever. You'll get jumbled. Okay? Don't do that. Editing is not one task. Editing is multiple tasks, right? For example, I need to transfer my footage. That's one task. Second task, I need to upload my footage as a backup. That's a second task. I need to call my photos. That's a third task. I need to then apply my presets and edit the color and the lighting of my photos. That's a fourth task. And then for me, a fifth task was going back through and creating black and whites. Some of you could do that during your Lightroom and your after shoot editing, right? Those are all individual tasks. Those can be on one day or multiple days, but they need to be on your calendar, task specific, okay, and time blocked. If you know that it only takes you 15 minutes to transfer footage to your computer and upload it, then that's one task. If you know it takes you 30 minutes to have after shoot call for you, or call manually if you want, and then go through the results, or it takes an hour. I think for me, it took 30 minutes. Put that on your calendar. Okay? The reason why we do this is we are very good at accomplishing tasks and accomplishing work in constrained time frames, okay, when we have full focus. There's a theory, I don't remember who wrote it, but there's a theory that we will naturally complete tasks in any time we allow ourselves to. So if we allow ourselves 6 hours to do one gallery, we'll take 6 hours to do a gallery. But if we allow ourselves 10 minutes to transfer it, 30 minutes to cull it, an hour and a half to edit it, okay, we can get a full gallery done in 2 hours. Prove me wrong. Now, again, that might be different for you because the length of your editing, how involved you are with editing, might be different. But try to estimate, or if you have the actual data, then that's even better. Try to estimate how long it takes you to do a task and then try to squeeze it. And you might find you will get more done in that time frame. But you have to put it on your calendar, task by task by task. Okay? Also, on your calendar, personally, I put in when I wake up, my morning routine, when I go to the gym, when I eat, and my cutoff. I have that in my calendar every day. Right? What's up, Austin? When I'm recording and editing a walkthrough for Tutorial Editor, I'm locked in. Sometimes I pretend I'm making a virtual tutorial when I edit and record it anyways. External accountability. I'm also going to talk about that, Austin. I love that. Right? External accountability. But for time blocking, that's what we do. Okay? So to recap time blocking, use a Google Calendar. Use whatever calendar that you are actually going to look at. Because if it's not in front of your face, you'll forget it. I use Google Calendar for my Zoom meetings. I have it on my phone. My phone's right there, right? I get notifications. I use Google Calendar, so that's what I use. Use whatever you use in other situations, okay? And for time blocking, I will put every task on my calendar at a set date and time, okay? And I will do that. Now, how do you actually do it? How do you force yourself to do it? How many times have you guys put something on your calendar and you don't do it? Be honest. Put it in the chat if you want. How do you actually do it? Well, dopamine regulation and discipline, if you guys really nail that, you will do it more. Okay? You will find yourself doing those things with relative ease. But let's say that's still not enough. We're going to get a little crazy. Okay? We're going to talk about external accountability. All right. Now, external accountability is exactly what it means. You are putting your reputation and your ego on the line to complete the tasks that you have. For me personally, using my own example, making these videos, I'm committing Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And there's only, a handful of you who actually watch these live. But I guarantee you, if I said this over and over, I'm going to do this and I don't show up live, you guys aren't going to trust me. And it's going to hurt my reputation. I don't want to do that. So external accountability, I'm doing these live, talking about it, posting it, and I'm fulfilling because I'm forced to, right? So what's a good way to have external accountability for the tasks you need to do? Work with people or work in public, okay? So if you're married, your spouse can be an incredible accountability partner. Just make sure that if you don't provide, like if you don't actually get the stuff done, you have real consequences. My wife will get pissed at me if I put something on my calendar and I don't do it. That's real accountability because I don't want my wife to be mad at me, right? For me personally, for working, editing, I love doing it in public. I go in public and I have external accountability because guess what, guys? If I'm at a coffee shop, like my ego, or I have an ego. If I go to a coffee shop and I'm scrolling on TikTok on my computer, I know somebody's going to see that and be like, that's a fucking loser. But if I'm editing, they're going to be like, oh, cool, he's a photographer. Wow. He's getting stuff done. Right? Now, I don't think people actually judge you, but you never know. Okay? I know for me, whenever I go to a coffee shop and I see somebody just scrolling, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that on a laptop? But I'm a little judgmental. So, that's just me. Okay? But external accountability. You can also get a group of friends together, okay, and get on Zoom with them and have co-working sessions virtually once or several times a week where you all work together and you keep each other accountable. Please do that. That's so great. I've even thought about doing that for full-time Wedding Pro members. So if you guys are a member of the program and you want me to do that, let's do it. I'll set it up. Okay? Now, so Austin had a really, really good example here, right? When recording and editing a walkthrough or tutorial for our editor, I'm locked in. So what he does is he will pretend that he's making a tutorial when he edits his films and he'll record it in OBS. I do the same thing. Whenever I'm like, and I don't do it all the time, but when I'm finding it really like hard, because I'm an educator. So I love recording what I'm doing and talking through it. But another way, which I had this idea and I literally wrote in parentheses insane next to it on my notes. You guys know blank cameras and Ring camera, like blink cameras, like the indoor little security cameras that are like $20. Put one in your office and make sure it's armed on motion and point it at your desk. And then if you want to, give your spouse access to it or yourself if you don't want to do that, whatever. Guys, listen, I did this. I don't do this now because we moved, but in my old house, we did this, and I was crazy productive because I knew somebody was always watching. Whether that, and my wife literally like never watched it. At least I don't think she did. But like I knew that I was being recorded. So I was productive. Because like, I'm a business owner. So like if I have a Blink camera facing my computer, and then like, my wife or like whatever, a friend of mine, God forbid, because I gave them access, because like accountability partner, whoever, my accountability partner looked at it and I'm sitting here scrolling reels on Instagram, they're going to be like, get your shit together. Okay. My whole mindset around this idea was you want to work for the future version of you. Okay. I'm 29 years old. Yeah. See, I love it. I think it's great. I do think it's a little insane, but I like it. I think it's like a good insane, just like security and privacy. Don't like, if it's going to be in a situation where you're like not wearing clothes or something, just understand that like Blink cameras can be hacked fairly easily. That's like the biggest downfall of them. So like, don't put it somewhere where you're not going to be dressed. Like just protect yourself. But that's besides the point. So, security purposes aside, it's really, really good idea. But my whole mindset around it was like, I'm working for the 40-year-old version of me. So if the 40-year-old version of me looks back and is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I don't want to disappoint him. I'm also working for the 10-year-old version of me who was like, I want to be rich when I'm older. I wanted to be a rock star personally, which is why I play drums. But like, I'm working for both of them. Okay. Not for the current me, because the current me doesn't give a shit. The current me is only focused on what makes me feel good in the moment. Right. But the future version of me is reliant on the decisions I make today. And the past version of me is proud or wants to be proud of the current version of me. So that's my external accountability. It's just myself in different time frames. Right. So if you just need that extra reminder, working in public, having an accountability partner, and literally getting a security camera and pointing it at your fucking desk and making sure it's armed will help you. So Kat, you may have just jumped on. The goal of this, and this is a good time to reiterate, the goal of this whole thing, right? Productivity is just to get more things done faster without working too much. So Kat, you may have jumped on that. That's okay. Watch the replay. We talked about dopamine regulation and discipline. You have to sleep 7 to 9 hours per night. Good sleep if you want this to work. If you are sleep deprived, unless you're just going purely on caffeine, which was me the other day, then you can get stuff done. But you have to prioritize good sleep. So yes, I do sleep. I sleep a lot. It's okay. It's okay. The replay will be up tonight or tomorrow. So don't worry. But yes, super, super important, right? External accountability. Now, we already talked about adapting, so we're not going to talk too much about that. But to recap the tactics, okay? Number one, the newest fucking tool that comes out for you, this productivity hack, this productivity tool is great. They're all the same. So for me personally, I use my Notes app on my my MacBook and my iPhone. Notion is also fantastic because Notion's a blank slate. You can do whatever you want with it. But for me personally, my Notes app is great, and Google Calendar. That's all I use. Okay. I have a master to-do list with all of the tasks that I know I need to do that aren't recurring, like going to the gym and like doing meetings and stuff like that. All the tasks that I need to do that aren't recurring are on a master task list, prioritized or separated or sorted by priority. Okay. Then I take those tasks and I put them on my Google Calendar dependent on the day. So I will have filming days. I'll have editing days. I'll have administration days, because context switching is hard for people who have ADHD. So I have days dedicated. Now, if my schedule changes, I will change the following days based on the context that I need to focus on. So if I know I need to get galleries out and I miss my editing day, I will look at my calendar for the rest of the week and I will say, okay, my new editing day is this day, and I will reschedule everything else. That's why I love digital calendars. Okay, so day categories. Then for time blocking, I will put these tasks on my calendar. My goal is one main task per day. I'll put these tasks on my calendar in as small chunks as possible. So if it takes me 2 hours to do something, I will try to do it in 90 minutes. I will try to make it fast because humans, we are very good at adapting for work in certain time frames. Okay. So if it takes us, if we allow ourselves 6 hours to do something, we'll do it in 6 hours. If we only allow ourselves 2 hours to do something, we'll probably try to find a way to do it in 2 hours. Okay. So time blocking and deadlines, right? Then external accountability. So I will try to work with people, have an accountability partner, publicize the things that I'm doing because you guys are my accountability partners. I will work in public, get out of my own house. I will have a blink camera or a security camera pointed at my desk during my work hours. And I will try to do it. And there's other things too. Okay. So a couple other things. One, I only will work 4 to 6 hours per day. If like for me personally, and everybody's different here, but for me, if I work more than about 6 hours a day, I get miserable. So I prioritize exercise, sleep, and hobbies and time with Caitlin, my wife. Okay. And when we have kids, it'll be prioritizing time with kids too. Right. So listen, I only allow myself 4 to 6 hours a day to work. If I don't do my tasks in that time frame, I don't stay up till 2 a.m. My day is gone. My work day is gone. It's done. I forced myself to clock out. When I was single, I could work until 2 a.m. and I didn't care. Right? But can I work for you? I don't know who you are. So that's a wild question to ask on a live stream. So, okay. So I have a dedicated work slot, right? And that's when I work. Okay. Now, also too, everybody here will work at different times. And even for me personally, this is a good thing to talk about. I find that for a few months at a time, I get the majority of my deep work done in the mornings. But then something switches and I'm not productive in the mornings. I'm then productive in the afternoons. So when I notice that, I switch my deep work sessions to the afternoons, which is crazy, right? But if you don't realize that about yourself, then it's like, oh, I don't know when, like I'm trying to force myself to work in the morning, but I'm not productive in the morning. Maybe in the morning I need to work out, right? Right now, I'm not productive in the mornings. I'm productive in the afternoons. So I don't do deep work in the mornings. I do deep work and meetings in the afternoons. It is what it is. I think it's something with like your circadian rhythm or maybe like the seasons or whatever. I don't know. But that's what I do. And then I only allow myself to work 4 to 6 hours per day. Okay. And there's other stuff we can talk about too. Right. But external accountability, super, super important. Accountability partner, virtually working in a group, working in public, having cameras pointed at you, like I love that stuff. Okay. Now, lastly, we're going to talk about automation and delegation, and then we're wrapping it up. Okay. There are things as a business owner that you should automate and delegate. And the way that you figure this out, automation means that you use software to make it automated, and delegation means that you hire somebody to do the task for you. Okay? This is not a bad thing. This is part of being a business owner. The way that you need to figure out if you need to do this is by doing a time audit. Okay? So every 15 minutes as you're working, you need to take note of the things that you're doing and then do this for about 2 weeks. So every time you sit down to do work, write out 15-minute time slots on a piece of paper in your notebook or do it virtually. And set a timer that goes off every 15 minutes and write down what you do. Now, if that's too quick for your tasks, then do 30 minutes. Okay, but 15 to 30 minutes. Write down everything you do during a workday for 2 weeks. And then what you want to do is take those tasks and sort them by income generating activities. All right? Income generating activities. What is actually moving the business forward? And then what you will find is if you're spending too much time on things that don't move the business forward, you automate or you delegate. For example, client communication, emails, super easy to automate. They do move the business forward, but they're very easy to automate because you can use email software. You can use AI to write the emails for you, right? You would want to go back there and make sure it looks good, right? Or you can hire a VA to write emails for you. They're very cheap. You can hire those on Fiverr or Upwork or onlinejobs.ph. It's a great way to find VAs, a great website to find VAs. Okay. Let's talk about the one that you guys don't want to talk about. Editing. Outsourcing editing is one of the highest leverage things you guys can do. Because guess what, guys? Yes, I know there is artistic qualities in your editing. But when you're editing a full wedding gallery, you don't have to be 110% artistic on every single shot. A picture of the bride's shoes doesn't need to be a fucking award-winning magazine cover. Okay? So what I do is I have an editor, and then I get the gallery and I apply creative edits. Okay? Well, I used to do that. I then started using Aftershoot for photos. So Aftershoot will cull for me and edit for me, and I only go in and apply creative edits. That took my editing time from about 7 to 8 hours per gallery to 2 hours a gallery. I'm not affiliated with Aftershoot, but I fucking should be based on how much I promote them. Aftershoot, if you're listening, sponsor me. We'll do a giveaway. Right? I love Aftershoot. I love Aftershoot. Because it saves me $300 to $500 per gallery. Now, for wedding films, I still do have an editor. But if you prefer to edit your own wedding films, do it. Just make sure you're time blocking efficiently. And there are ways you can even automate wedding editing. I mean, I think there are softwares now that can sort your footage for you and automatically cull footage for you. There might even be, I don't know, but there might even be software now that can edit a full wedding film for you. I don't know. I'm not that into it because I only shoot a handful of weddings per year now. But like, if there is, do it. I've been thinking about using Aftershoot, but I'm afraid it will take pictures out that are still good. Yeah, you have to, like, there's a little bit of trust you have to have with it. So what I do personally is I let Aftershoot cull, and then I'll spend about 30 minutes and I'll go through all of the photos with, like, you know, the little shortcuts, especially the ones that are like really important. I'll really focus on those, but then all the other shots that's just like details, like whatever, like I'll just scroll through them, right? The AI is really, really good. Yeah, Aftershoot's the bomb. Exactly, Christy. I love it, right? And I love too that you can give it your own presets, and you can also use their presets, and it's just fantastic. So yeah, I love it. But like, you know, Brittany, for example, the time that you take to go through the cull that it does and just make sure all your best photos are there versus going one by one through each photo, you will save a ton of time. I do still use Lightroom for creative edits, but Aftershoot does like 95% of my editing. Like when I get to Lightroom, I'm only editing out of a 600 to 800 image gallery. I deliver like tighter galleries. I'm probably only editing maybe 50 to 100 photos, like in Lightroom. Like I'm like, it's very, very light, you know, because Aftershoot's so good. I've got it dialed. So yeah, that's why it only takes me a couple hours to do a full gallery from import to like uploading. It's crazy. So yeah, but for me, again, if I don't put it on my calendar and time block it, I will literally take the entire 8 weeks to deliver a gallery. It's so stupid. So yeah. Sam, currently 5 hours. Sup, Satan. Sup, Peyton. Currently 5 hours layover to Italian wedding from an ad. Let's go, Sam. I love it, dude. I'm sorry that the ads that I helped you ran booked you a wedding that gave you a 5 hour layover. That's a long layover. If it makes you feel better, on Saturday, Caitlin and I flew to Florida to go visit our friends who just had a baby. And we woke up at 4 a.m. We flew out at 7 a.m. and our flight came back that night. It was supposed to be at 7:30. It got delayed till 1 a.m. and we got home at 3. So that makes you feel better. I woke up at 4 and I went to bed at 4. Hey, we went to Florida. So what you're saying is I should do their trial. It'll save time and love it. And eventually just, yeah, go for it, Brittany. Again, like do a time audit, right? So like go through every 15 minutes and say, okay, do I need to automate or delegate this? Am I spending too much time on tasks that don't move the business forward? Think about it. Yeah, just do it. I think that's it. So, selfishly, I made this podcast because a lot of you guys want to join Full-Time Wedding Pro, but you always tell me, I need to edit all my galleries. I need to take a few months and get out of, my backlog. So selfishly, I made this podcast to help you guys join Full-Time Wedding Pro faster. But unselfishly, I want you guys to live a life that you really enjoy. I don't want you to work all day. I don't want you to deliver galleries in 8 to 12 weeks and have your clients be unhappy. Because with up to a certain point, the faster you deliver a gallery, the happier your clients are. Now, if you deliver a full gallery in like a week, there's probably not going to be enough time in between for them to be like, oh my God, But like, no one wants them done in 24 to 48 hours, Like, see? So, but I want you guys to give your clients their stuff faster. I want you guys to have more time to do the right tasks to grow your business so you make more money. And I want you guys to have time outside of business to be happy and spend time with family and friends and have hobbies and work, like exercise and treat your body right. That's why I made this. Okay? I got to jump. If you guys want to join Full-Time Wedding Pro and learn how to run ads to book weddings, go to fulltimeweddingpro.com or go to the link in my Instagram bio or DM me and we'll chat. I have to do my pitch. You guys know it. And if you want more podcast episodes like this, follow me on Instagram at Peyton Helm. Subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or YouTube. And like I said, if you want to run ads to book weddings, I'm the guy for it. We have the best program in the wedding industry. I can say that with pure humility or humbleness and not arrogance because it's true. And for you guys listening to the podcast on the recording, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. And then I'm going to answer a few more questions live. So don't jump if you're watching this live. But my friends who are watching the recording, love your faces. I'll see you in the next podcast episode. Bye-bye.